Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now? Guys, has this not just been the longest week in your life ever? Like, honestly, I can't believe it's Friday. It feels like the Kairat game was genuinely last night. It's went by in the blink of an eye, but at the same time, it feels like a month's worth of stuff has happened. We're in this really weird time vortex right now where it's just all over the place in a lot of ways. We're here for the weekly catch up here on the channel. So fist bump to you all that's joining us live and loud. Good to see you. Smash the like button, of course. Help the YouTube algorithm know that we're having a good time here, and we'll find some more boys and girls, some more jungle gyms from around the world to come and hang out with us. Hit the subscribe button if you've not done so already, and there is tons to get stuck into. This might be the biggest weekly catch up show I think we've ever done. I knew something was missing. We've not got the little chat bubble for the screen. That's it flipped on now. Get the chat firing away. Because, yeah, genuinely where to start, I don't even know. We've titled the show IDAH Gone. Now, if you caught the live stream last night, McBride Ace got it hot off the forum before it was posted anywhere that IDAH had said his goodbyes at Lennoxtown, and that was going to roll, So that was a lot of fun last night. If you caught it, thanks again to everyone that tuned in live or after we've been live. And of course, feel free to go back and check it out because we go into previewing the match as well in a lot of detail. We'll preview the match a little bit today, but actual match preview was last night. So you'll be able to catch that with me and McBride Ace at your leisure. And yeah, I can't say thanks enough to everyone joining us. It's been some week, and honestly, this is going to be good fun. We've got so much to get stuck into this week. We put out that video on Wednesday that was a double bumper. I did promise you a double upload, so I'm really sorry. But we just put the transfer segment of stuff into that video as well. Everything's very well timestamped. So if you want to check out the Wednesday video, there's tons of meat on the bone, tons of stuff to look at. And yeah, we'll kind of flesh out some of that now again in this video as well, because we've had reality unfold. We've had the Europa League draw. We've had some transfers made already, confirmed, signed, and revealed. And we've got a few more that are like bubbling away, irons in the fire. Brendan Rodgers' press conference isn't long out, and he is, what his answer for the last month. Can anyone remember what his answer was from like the last month on all the transfer stuff? It was always, I don't know, I'm not involved, who knows, shrug of the shoulders. But today, he knows answers. So that's been good stuff as well to see. And I've actually just remembered we've got someone that we've not actually added onto the little board here because he was pictured in training, but he's still not announced. So we almost certainly have another player to announce at some point, you would think, in the form of Marcello Sarachi. But yeah, it should be a good one today, guys. So get into the comment section. Let me know thoughts and feelings on the week as a whole. Maybe it's a good place to start. Like, what an emotional roller coaster. And, I don't know about you, right? But the urgency from the club and everything, but the Sharks were coming out. The Sharks were coming out. The Sharks are out for some people already. And I can hear those people already saying, don't put the Sharks away yet. Even though they're spending money and things are happening, these are the list of sins. We all know what they are. You don't need me to repeat them. So, happy to see and feel and be kind of all things in this regard, because I do, it's a very conflicting week. There's so much that's going on here. I think we'll put on screen. We'll get kind of kicked off with the team sheet starting off with, because we have had a transfer, which is nice, and having. So I'll just move Roxon so we can Johnson, so we can see him. We've had Michelle Ange BALIKWISHA. Celtic announced it uncharacteristically really late. And they'd done it right after the stream that we had on this channel last night. It felt like 2 minutes later. BALIKWISHA's in the changing room doing the interview and telling us all how he's going to go on and have a great year for us. A player we're very familiar with here on the channel. We certainly cover a fair amount of Belgian football outside of the Celtics Are Here content we make on the channel, between myself and McBride Ace as well, for that matter, big contributor here. And this is a player that, we know all about. And this is the sort of player that we've been begging for months. Like Negren, very firmly in that category. On this channel, if you're new around here, we term it as top of the food chain. When you are looking around these other leagues in European and world football, Japan and anywhere else you want to think about, the signing of Kyogo, the signing of Daisen Maeda, some of these guys that we've been doing over the years, we've been going to the best players in these leagues and signing them. Yes, we've had the O's and the Yangs and the Kwons where you're trying to unearth them from somewhere else, like it's maybe not at a big team, maybe not obviously leading the league in goals or winning player of the year kind of vibes or whatever. And sometimes they can work out, sometimes they don't. Obviously, the list I gave is probably not a good example of when they do work out. But you all kind of, I'm sure, agree for the most part that there is occasions where it does work out. I'm just going to clean up the back of the chat there, so just so it looks a bit nicer for anyone watching this on playback. So yeah, it is what it is. But BALIKWISHA is very firmly top of the food chain. You know, a guy that's been right at the top of the Belgian league, a league and cup winner, Champions League credentials. Just announced himself now to be a Dominican of Congo, or Republic of Congo internationalist. So we've got AFCON to look forward to. So certainly need more bodies in the door before we even get into that. But yeah, we kind of started this off, I suppose, with we've got BALIKWISHA in. IDAH looks to be on his way out. He has apparently said his goodbyes at Lennoxtown, done the medical with Swansea, and Brendan Rodgers has said that's not going to go through until we get someone else in. And it feels like, you know, if Adam IDAH leaves, the next number 9 at Celtic could be Kasper Dolberg, who, again, we can get into his career. We can talk about, this is a name a lot of Celtic fans are familiar with. This is a guy that is not a up-and-coming unknown player or anything like that. Very firmly now getting towards the peak years of his career. And again, you know, you guys will know probably just as much about him in a lot of ways as I do in terms of the style of player, what he offers, etc. But the very first, so, and you feel there's an urgency from Celtic to get this deal done. It feels like we're going to be spending £8 million, give or take, on Dolberg, and we're probably going to get the thick end of 7 out of Swansea for IDAH. Now, I've certainly never been anti-IDAH up until that penalty, and I think that was quite clear about this on the channel. So I've never been anti-IDAH, but the one thing that I'll always say is a clear negative against him, and it really, in terms of me doing the videos and stuff, I'm just trying to encapsulate what we're all feeling, and it is the fact that for £9 million, whatever it was we paid for him in the first place, there is better players available, and there is probably not a better example of how to spend £8 to £9 million on a striker than Kasper Dolberg. This is a guy that has techers, very similar to Ben Negren in that regard, of a player that is about getting to the final third, is about making successful actions, being a good team player, and you know, just being an overall positive contributor. I actually was going to look at his form recently, but I want to start on his transfer marked page because I do think, again, with him being a player we're familiar with, it's a good kind of recap. He did make it into the big leagues, as it were. He did make it into the top 5, but it didn't really catch fire for him, sadly. And that's why he finds himself in the position where we're picking him up. So Kasper Dolberg at the moment, 27 years of age, 55 caps for the Danes, 12 goals, transfer marked value around the €13 million mark. So with Anderlecht now being eliminated from the Conference League, and I think, yeah, his contract is, you know, it's never, never kind of thing for them to get a decent value next year. There's 1 year left on it. There's more pressure. Price goes down dramatically. He's about the same height as me. So, you know, he's a tallish fellow, as it were. Hits with his right foot. It says here attacker, centre forward, and this is a guy that coming through previously as well, as we'll see his previous clubs, Ajax and the likes. This is the guy who can play all across the front line. There's a fair chance he played for Ajax against us. In fact, in the Ronnie Dyla years, there's a fair chance of that. I would need to double check it, to be honest with you. But went to Nice, and I can't remember his stats at Nice, but didn't pull up trees. At Seville, he was anonymous. I can tell you that for free. Can't remember what he did really at Hoffenheim, but since getting back to Anderlecht, he has been like very much at his level, you know, and it's maybe reality for him at the age he's been at and the clubs he's found himself at previously. But if we look at him for Anderlecht in the Belgian league, a guy that has been hitting the back of the net, and Anderlecht is, if you look into, have not been the dominant force in Belgian football. As you hear many Celtic fans, including Brendan Rodgers today in his press conference, reference the success of Bruges, the success of USG as well comes into the conversation quite a lot, as well as we know, Michel Allen's BALIKWISHA's Antwerp won the league recently enough as well. Never mind factoring into that Genk and Ghent, who are teams that often compete at the top of the table. So Anderlecht not being the vintage them, not being their best self, having a striker being this prolific is decent. You know, it's definitely a mark of character. And when you look at his highlight packages, obviously for copyright reasons, we can't really show them on the video ourselves. You'll be able to find them on YouTube and anywhere else. With a simple search, no problem at all. The guy scores bangers. The guy has techers. He can take free kicks. He can roam anywhere in and around the final third. And when it comes to actually replacing someone like Adam IDAH, we couldn't really ask for too much better. A guy that has that kind of nose for danger when, like, you know, where I'm sitting right now, before Dolberg comes in with BALIKWISHA, thinking about the weekend, I expect Daizer Maeda to play centre forward at the weekend. I expect Ben Negren to probably... Where's he went? Oh, I think I deleted them by accident. I made a boo-boo earlier with deleting made-up little icon players for the squad, so I've deleted Negren by accident. I expect Negren to start front three with how he did, and I expect that to facilitate Engels. Again, you can listen to that show last night that we did. But generally speaking, Dyson can play both sides, Balikwisha can play both sides, Jota can play both sides, and Dolberg coming into this as being the actual Kyogo replacement. I know this is Ida out, Dolberg in, but this is actually the Kyogo replacement. Balikwisha is firmly the Nicholas Kuhn replacement in my eyes. Obviously, he's picking up the number 10 shirt. It's very much poetic in that way as well. But then Brendan says, ideally, we get another striker. There's a lot of rumours that there is more moves in the offing. We're, of course, linked as well to Sebastian Tunekti, who is a winger coming out of the Swedish league. They're asking for the thick end of £5 million for him. We're playing around the £3-4 million mark at point of recording. And, this is a player that really to replace Yang, essentially, fine. Really, I don't really have any strong feelings about this either way. He's 23 years of age. His stats and his numbers and all that, matches per goal, don't really jump off the page. He does have 2 championships here. He's a former Bodo Glimt player or something like that, I'm sure. Yeah, former Bodo player. Was owned by a Dutch team for a little while, Groningen. Obviously didn't really do anything there. So, this is kind of fine, whatever. If this guy's coming in to replace Yang, I don't think that makes too much of a difference. And I think the squad's in a really good place, but another striker would be nice. But for where we sit right now, Shin is the O replacement. Kind of mentioned that before. And really, see the way Johnny Kenny's went, and if we do the rest of this business, another striker would be great. But, is Kenny a replacement for Ida? Who knows? And yeah, a penalty taker, a marksman. And I meant to say this at the tip-off of it. Kasper Dolberg is a talismanic forward. That's the way to think about him. And in terms of a guy you want leading the line and being on the end of chance creation, this guy has got everything we want in a big, big way. At 27 years of age, has played for some big clubs, has went to some big leagues, has played, as we've seen there, in a fair amount of different places. This is a good caliber of guy. This is a guy with some pedigree, a bit of track record. And this looks just really fake, really, in the best possible way possible. But if you told me 2 years ago, even last year, the Celtic front three would be Balikwisha, Dolberg, and Negren, it feels too good to be true in some ways. That is if you were going around the leagues in Europe we should be shopping in, top of the food chain operators in these types of leagues, and guys that do have the potential to fulfill some potential that they've shown previously in their career. So I really couldn't be high enough on the business that we stand to do right now. I think Adamida leaving at the price he is fine, great, whatever. Once fallen into our lap, that happens once in a while. But to go and get Dolberg, capitalise on another situation, brilliant. And apparently this was a deal we tried to do earlier in the window for £10 million. So again, in the grand scheme of things, we've saved £2 million. It's not worth the pain of Kyra, is it? So I think there's lessons to be learned there. If we maybe saved a similar amount on Balikwisha, we probably have. So the pain of Kyra is saved us maybe £4 million on transfer fees. Obviously, it's net a massive error, obviously. The chat is absolutely flying, guys. I can't promise to go all the way back and catch up with everyone for fist bumps and thanks for coming in and all that good stuff. But we have soared past the first magic number of 67 likes. We are almost at the next magic number, which is 88, of course. So if you could hit the like button, means a lot. It just means YouTube knows we're having a good time here. We're doing some good old chat, and then maybe find some more jungle gyms to come and hang out with us and help grow the channel. So yeah, and after we get to 88, we're flying, guys. Last week, in the last couple of weeks, smashing 250 likes has been no problem at all. So the support on the channel has been incredible. So thanks very much for everyone that does that. It means a lot. Costs you guys absolutely nothing. So yeah, this feels a lot better. If we do get another further replacement as another striker, I don't mind that at all. But really considering behind Dolberg, Maeda's still in the building, and really, if Dolberg couldn't play for some reason, playing Dyson Maeda, and you still have Negren, Balikwisha, Jota when he's fit, complete, see, I'm not really that against having Shin and Kenny still knocking around. Do we get another striker from there? Let me know what you think in the chat. Let me do that as a poll, right? So we've got a little poll on there. So thanks to anyone that voted on the first one. 98 of you love that. And wow, we've jumped up the likes massively, guys. You're heroes and legends. So I'm just going to put this little poll out. How many? And you just can let me know what you think. And we'll kind of move the video on and we'll come back to this. So we've got Sriracha. He's been pictured in training. So we can count him. 1. Balikwisha. 2. Dolberg. 3. Right? So we're just going to start the poll at 4. Right? How many we get in this spell? 4, 5. I'm just going to run up with, we can do 4 options. So if you want to do a crazy one like 7, feel free. But how many do you think we'll get? We've got 3 on the board. I think there's a wide expectation. There's another one, whether it even be Tuneke, or the winger guy. How many more do you think we'll do? And like I say, Tuneke, I don't mind that as like a Yang replacement. If you take Yang out the building, we're always going to have Forrest. And Maeda Jota, BALIKWISHA, but you still need somebody else to come in here, and that Tuneke guy to basically do the Yang job. I don't mind that at all, you know. So yeah, let me know. We have been linked to Miovski, and again, I'm not a big Miovski guy. He couldn't do it at Girona, and that's really the litmus test for us spending money. Now, you might even say Dolberg didn't do it at Seville and Hoffenheim and some of these places. Let's go and double check some numbers for him. That'll just be interesting to double check. But Miovski, the player that was keeping him out in Girona was Stuani at 37 years of age. And Girona were terrible last year. Like, they really needed goals, really needed something, you know, and he couldn't get minutes, couldn't make the difference for them. So yeah, it's ultimately how I see that. Yeah, Seville 4 games, Hoffenheim 13. Never really happened there, did it? France, he played off. Like, France, that's not too bad, by the way, you know, for Nice around these times as well. Like, I think this is around the times when they'd had like Patrick Vieira as manager and Mario Balotelli, and you know, when the Ratcliffe kind of thing happened. Obviously, like, he's a bit more well known now, isn't he, with the Man United connection? So like decent numbers, I think, for a team in the Europa League kind of level of things, you know, like 7th in the table or whatever, and then go to Anderlecht and helping them do pretty well. If he can do those numbers for us in the fashion he does them, I think we can all be quite content with that. So rather buzzing for that. And as I say, the guy Tuneke, we'll put his numbers on screen as well. Tuneke. And again, if this guy's got a little bit of something about him, fine. I don't mind giving him the Yang audition potential opportunity. Like, a club like us has to have a spot like that in the squad, really, you know, like, so that's fine by me. Yang's had all the opportunities to like level up, not quite there. So if he moves on, someone else comes in and gets a chance, and if it doesn't work out, it's the same sort of transfer. See, I don't really mind that overall. Yeah, numbers aren't fantastic, you know, for the Danish league. If you compare that to Orjasetter, who I think was the other guy we really quite liked, who went to Twente. What was his numbers like in that league? A little bit better. Not by much, really, but yeah, a little bit better. So yeah, let me catch up with the chat, because this show is normally quite centered around you guys. Put the team back, or the squad back up on screen. We'll take Dolberg to the side, obviously, because that's not happened. And we'll put IDAH and Yang back into their rightful places. Vardy off to Cremonese. Yep, seen that. Stengs has went to Pisa as well. Miovski and Rangers. I think it feels like we're going back again. So the latest post I've got of this on Twitter is 26 minutes old, and we've got up to just about the 4 million mark. So we're really playing funny buggers with it, you know. You know, we're just like, have you ever tried to sell something online and someone just keeps doing this to you? You know, it's listed for £100 and they send an offer of 50, then 55, and then 60, and then 65 until you eventually just break and sell it for 82 or something, you know. 82, 42 or something ridiculous kind of thing like that. So it feels like we're hot on that to make that a goer. And as I say, if it's to replace Yang, I really have got no problem with that whatsoever. And yeah, I'm quite happy about how the transfers is working and everything else. The other thing that's really happened today is we've of course had the Europa League draw. Now, I did say on the Wednesday video, I think the Europa League means we do no business, right? And I sincerely mean that, right? And I still stand by it. I'm flabbergasted that we're doing the business that we're doing at the velocity that we're doing it. If we get 5, I think, is what they would need to be on the post. So we've got 3 here. Brendan wants 1 more in general. And let's say Yang and Tuneke or whatever, move around. 5. If we do 5 bits of business in the aftermath of Kairat, I will be speechless. I will be flabbergasted is the word for it. Because upon the Europa League, I just didn't see us doing it. I thought they just went back to biscuit tin. But I genuinely think it's the backlash, it's the outcry of the fans that has sparked this. And you know, Brendan and the club, and people can say whatever they want, right? But for me, the Sharks were out. We said it earlier in the stream. And when you see that the Celtic Trust, when like mainstream Celtic fan media over the last week or two, and some other people, big kind of former kind of names and from the past or whatever, are getting involved in that sort of stuff as well. I think they really got a cold shower. They really got a mad wake-up call. Now, we've had the Europa League draw. I'm on record on the thing as well, and I'll say it again. Par for us is 10 games. We're going to get 8 games that are drawn in front of us. And as we know from the Champions League last year, you only don't need to be in the bottom third of the table and you are going to get to the playoffs, or you'll automatically qualify for the last 16 or whatever. I don't really think there's too much of a problem with us achieving that. Now, the fixtures we've got are not easy. We've actually got a very narrow bandwidth on competitive opposition, competitive strength, where like there's not really any runts here, is there? Everyone's quite formidable in their own little way. I think Roma is clearly the hardest game. Feyenoord are not quite peak Feyenoord of recent years. Bologna as well have been mined. Like, they signed Immobile and Bernardeschi as their big summer signings. Immobile just got injured, and Immobile is long past it. We've already faced him against Lazio. He hardly put us to the sword then in his pomp. So Bologna's probably got the best goalkeeper in this fold here. Lucas Skorupski, Polish goalie. I love Polish goalies. You may be able to work out why. But Skorupski's a wall. They've got Lewis Ferguson, of course, and maybe somebody else decent. But I'm not really worried about Bologna. I think that's away, so that's maybe the worrying factor on it, because they do have, like, their fans, the Rosso Blue, they put on a good show under the floodlights. Very good midweeks, Monday nights and stuff like that, Friday nights. They're very good. So that will be a tough game by all accounts, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'll be a gulf in quality. It's not going to be Atalanta away. Midtjylland. So, and again, I thought when I seen this as well, the only team here that has actually got stronger in this transfer window, like without doubt, is Braga. Every other team in this transfer window is about maintained, or if you believe some of the other links, I've seen, I don't know if it was real or not, but I've seen somebody saying that Bovine at Sturm Graz is another player that we're looking at. And if that's who Brendan's +1 is with Dolberg, so if Bovine replaces Kyogo, Balikwisha replaces Kuhn, and then Bovine replaces IDAH. And William Bovine is a 22-year-old, much earlier in his career, designated a midfielder as it happens, but a guy that does play up front. Normally in this type of shape here, along with CD Jata, who is a name that some of my followers will be familiar with anyway, a bit of a speed merchant. Speedy Jata, his name is. That could be really good. That could be really fun. If we actually took a player off of Sturm Graz, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Away to Red Star is like, that's one of the bad away games, isn't it? You know, they're like us. They've got a 12-man situation. They've got a formidable kind of away venue. Having Braga come to here is fantastic, because Braga is a very clear team that has a difference in home and away form. But Midtjylland have been selling. Utrecht haven't spent money at all. They never do. But they do have Barkas, of course, coming back to us. And yeah, so I don't really fear this draw. I think out of the home games, like, see if we play Roma first. This is the way they're displayed, right? If we play Roma first, I fancy us to get a win, really. If we've got a good momentum, a good pace coming into the game, even if we're playing them later in the order, if we're in good space, at home to Roma is not something to be fearful of, really. Like, their team's good, but their team's not great, you know, rather dysfunctional and bloated, you know, a lot of injury-laden players in their squad, Roma, not reliable to have their best team available for these matches. So I don't fear that. I don't fear Braga at our place, Sturm Graz at our place, and Utrecht at our place. We all know how bad Barkas is at Celtic Park. I see 10 points out of the home games, personally. Even if you give the Roma game as a draw, or you imagine there's one here somewhere where it's a Bruges situation where we don't quite go for the neck, I can go for 10 points at home. And out of the away games, Rotterdam, Belgrade, Bologna, and Midtjylland, I think we win at Midtjylland away. And like I said about Red Star, they do have that 12th man. I think Rotterdam has that same kind of vibe. But I can see us getting a good away win out of one of these games, potentially. Or even if you drew both of them, I don't think, like, you know, I think out of these two ones, we won't lose both of them. It's kind of what my gut tells me here. And Bologna is kind of a question mark, really. Like, I don't really know how to feel about Bologna away. It's kind of in that weird zone of everything I've mentioned about it. So I'm kind of thinking around the 15 to 17 point mark. I'm going to be less optimistic and say 15 points is when I kind of feel with this. I guess that's the next thing I'll put on the poll. So the poll at the moment, you think we'll get 4. So you think we'll get up to Dolberg, So that'll get us to 3. So we'll add in Sriracha, BALIKWISHA, Kasper Dolberg, and then you're saying one more, the Tuneki guy, probably. That's what you guys think. Interesting. How many points do you think we'll get? So how will I do this as a poll? That'll be fun. So let's say less than 10. 10 to 15. 15 to 18. And 18 plus. I think that's a good gauge, isn't it? How many points do you think we'll get in the Europa League? So, come back to it, right? Expectations and all that good stuff. Par is 10 games. We're going to play these 8. And I don't think there's really 2 ways you can think about. Can we get a nice graphic of the table? Europa League standings. Awesome. Can we zoom out on this so we can see as much of it as possible? I think we can. Okay, cool. So if we look at the standings, this is an alphabetical order currently, right? But yeah, top 24. I don't think it's going to be too hard for us to get to the top 24, realistically. I just don't see it. Top 8, who knows? I think that really is like you trying to gauge the strength of fixture of all the other teams and like who could get the most points and stuff like that. It's way too early to tell. This is going to be so hard to predict, which means like it could be unpredictably good for us as well. It's a real, like, even across the whole competition here, the weak teams, I think the weak teams here are better than the weak teams in the Champions League. The Champions League this year has Paphos, Kairat Almaty, which, you know, we can't really throw too much shade against, right? Fine. But there's like 3 or 4 gimme teams in the Champions League that, who are the gimme teams here? Tel Aviv? Bran? Like, you know what I mean? So, weird in that regard. But anyway, par for the course is 10 games. We're going to play these 8, and then we're going to play another 2. We're going to play a playoff 2-legged. Now, I'm pretty sure at that stage you could play Rangers, right? So, imagine. If anyone wants proof that UEFA draws are fixed, if Celtic and Rangers draw each other at the first opportunity, you know it's a fix. So for me, success is 12 games, because that draw, who could it be? It could genuinely be anyone, you know. And over 2 legs, you know, if we fell out at that point, I say it'd be par, like it would be minimum. You know, you get to those 12 games and you go that far. The 10 games, sorry. So I think 12 games is like, that's good. We've done minimum like positive. Yeah, I think I'm saying that. So par is like neutral, isn't it? We're not thinking that, oh, that was a success. 10 games is basic. Like that is par, standard, minimum, however you want to think of it. 12 games, boom, is when we think, okay, that was interesting. Because it will be a progression on the last year in the terms of, number one, how many games we've played, but also it's taking those games further down the calendar and the impact that has. It gives the players a reality, and it gives them like something to maybe have as a lesson and an experience for the future or whatever. Chat is absolutely running away, guys. Honestly, I love to see it here. And I've been on the wrong part of it, so it's not moved for me. So I'll do better with putting you guys' thoughts and feelings. The poll has been doing a good job of keeping it going anyway. 63% of you think it will be between 10 and 15. Right. So there's 59 votes. We've got 156 likes. Wow. There's almost 400 of you here on YouTube alone. Well, we're only on YouTube. And by the way, all the content goes back out on Substack without adverts. So I did see a comment or two that hates the YouTube ads. I get it. I pay for YouTube Premium myself so that I can blah, blah, blah. There's benefits to it, but you don't get ads as well. That's a nice touch. Also, you can do lock screen with YouTube. That's the big thing I love. I can do lock screen and everything still works fine, or I can get the little bubble on my phone as well. Anyway, a story for another day perhaps. But if you want stuff ad-free, you can just check out the Substack for Celtsar here. You'll also get all the exclusives that break from all the insider knowledge that we've got here across all the platforms and all the articles and breaking news that Celtsar here delivers. And it supports all the content everywhere that we do, from myself and Craig and Mark and, you know, everyone involved in everything that we do. So if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it, is join the Substack. I'm pretty sure it's £1 a week. So we can get a few more votes in. If we can get to 88 votes, I'll feel good as an accurate poll. And then we'll break that 10 up. How many points do you actually? We'll go 10, 11, 12, 14, whatever. It's been 8 million quoted for Dolberg. Yeah, I think it's a goer. I think it's going to happen. But But yeah, I think they've been scared into gear big time, the board, with the Sharks coming out. Like, you know, Celtic, like, that's the number one thing they don't want. They don't want disruption. They want the status quo to remain, you know. So it is a wise word, I would say, to, you know, let's not put the Sharks away. I said on the Wednesday video, I wouldn't be happy buying Europa League tickets, spending money on Europa League. And I know the cup ticket scheme fans are kind of got their hands tied behind their back, which fair enough. I think everyone understands that sort of stuff. But somebody's head needs to roll, you know, really. Like, someone, there needs to be something happens here. Or if Brendan signs, I would probably settle for that. If Brendan gets a new contract off the back of this window and he says, I've got it, guys, you know, I could get on board with that. If Brendan signs a new contract, it's maybe the caveat I would add in to someone getting bagged. Concrete change is what we're kind of shouting for here. IDAH is done. He needs a move for his own sake. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And then I think every Celtic fan is quite united in the sake of no harm to the big guy. He'd done well, you know, for the time he was here. It's just not the... It's Mikey Johnson syndrome. We've been saying that for a few weeks. It's just some guys want to be a Celtic player too much. Some players get being a Celtic player too much, you know, and it just doesn't come together. You know, it's just, it's one of those things. Mikey Johnson leaves Celtic, plays for West Brom, becomes an Ireland international, gets a move to Flamengo, which, you know, kind of got rug pulled on him, but, you know, whatever. So Adamida, like, his career's just getting started in a lot of ways. So, you know, all the best of luck to him, no harm to him, and, you know, it's football. It's as simple as that, you know. Why would Brendan want to... I don't think Brendan wants to go anywhere, really, you know. So yeah, love all that, guys. Love all that. But yeah, so it feels like it will be Tuneke coming in for Yang as a replacement, and Brendan wants one more, and Bovine is one of the links I've seen kind of knocking around. And I think, honestly, like, it's going to be such a great looking team. Now, I've totally changed my mind. If we can look at the Derby game, it's number 4. From the predicted team I had at the weekend. Oh, I didn't save it when we were finished with the video. Apologies, I'll tidy this up. But I actually believe now that BALIKWISHA is going to start. Brendan said he's ready to go. He's been playing matches. He's fine. Brendan normally can be quite cautious. We've heard it all pre-season with any player you care to mention. We'll actually leave Donovan on page because we might need to talk about that for a second also. But this is a massive game for show, and I think BALIKWISHA comes in to start this one. I don't think it's up for discussion anymore. I did think Kenny was going to start, perhaps, but I think now... oh, God. See, the system's funny how it does this. Let's add BALIKWISHA back in. I'm just going to stop deleting people. I know I've now not got any error people anywhere, so I don't need to delete them. But I think BALIKWISHA starts. I think Dyson goes through the middle. And I think Negren just gets moved here to the right wing. Maybe still starts with Forrest, and Negren would start over Engels. But I think coming into this derby, Brendan wants to change the mood. Brendan wants to put on a show. The question in the press conference was talking about beating Rangers, and he says putting on a performance. You know, Brendan's ready to put on a show. He's going to tell BALIKWISHA, go and sell some shirts. Go and be a hero, you know. Dyson, whatever's happening with him, you need to hit the back of the net, and Negren's going to be right up for this. I think they're going to feed off the atmosphere, something rotten as well, like party crashing Rangers, getting them to leave their seats and stuff like that. It's going to be raw. It's going to be good, man. Now, Ralston didn't train today, Brendan said, but he should be fine, and I think that's what's going to be the case. But I do expect Donovan to make his Old Firm debut, or his Derby debut. Slip of the tongue. Sorry, guys. Don't come at me. So I think Ralston is. I think Ralston starts, but I think, like, this is a wild front three so quickly, and it's hard not to get excited about it. Donovan, I don't think, Dolberg, I don't think it's at all possible he could be registered in feature. I think somebody was asking that from before. It's a nightmare for the Cream Buns to set up against Dolberg, BALIKWISHA, and maybe one more. Yeah. I don't think they can come in time for the match. Bolognese tonight, Maestro. According to the Times, after 5 p.m. Yeah. I think so too. Now, a lot of the stuff that's public seems to be positive, that Dolberg is advancing very well, and that's brilliant. But I did get sent something privately earlier today that suggests that they're actually still rather far apart. So, very interesting to see. I really do hope it gets buttoned up pronto. because Dolberg, I think, is a fantastic acquisition. Top of the food chain. I can't express that enough. Quality player. A proper replacement for Kyogo is how I would be categorizing him. And when you be looking at BALIKWISHA as the Kuhn replacement, we're in a really good place as long as we follow through with what else feels to be on the horizon and what Brendan's wanting. Brendan wants another one, another Bovine or whoever else we're going to bring in. So let's see it. This is the Rangers team that was projected from the show last night to play against us. And this front three changes everything because, yeah, it just does, man. I think, it's going to be a good game at the weekend. I'm very much looking forward to it. Engel's done the player press conference as well. Sometimes that can be a red herring. I've seen plenty of Brendan Rodgers player, the people he puts up for them or however it's decided not play. So it's not a guarantee, but I think it's a bit of a tell in this case. They're wanting more. Yeah, see, I got sent something this morning privately. It said they're still wanting 15 mil, all this chat publicly is 8, some of it's 10. I think Celtic should be bricking it that the Sharks are coming out and the Celtic Trust and all these other people are going to gang up on them and enforce change. I think they're going right into panic mode on it, and I don't think that can be overlooked. Guys, there's almost 450 of these live and loud with his 5 o'clock on a Friday doing the Celtic Weekly Catch-Up. We've got a poll on right now. How many points do you think we're going to get in the Europa League? We've just finished a poll on transfers. We're completed the signing. It looks like a Sriracha, BALIKWISHA, Dolberg feels imminent, so I've got us down for 3. I asked the chat, how many more do you think, or how many do you think we're going to get in total? The majority of you say 4, 1 more, which looks most likely to be Sebastian Tunekte of Hammarby. And it feels like he'll be the replacement for Yang that'll be going out. I personally think 5 is the number we're aiming for. And if we do, what a series of business we've done it. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like, again, the guy has had some injuries over the years and whatever. So in terms of like that energy, like, because the thing about Kyogo and Dyson, right, is see just pressing once or twice or whatever. Like, anyone can do that. The thing with them, Dyson in particular, is the ability to repeat and restart and go again across the whole time, which Celtic fans know. I'm telling you something, I know that. Dolberg will be able to press. He will press. But it's really hard to say if he'll be able to do it to the level that these guys have been doing it, because they have been top caliber. And yeah, he will add to the press. He will be a threat in the press. No two ways about it. But we're talking about like top operators in that regard. Their lowest number was 4. Yeah, exactly. So the lowest number in the poll was 4. So do we get Dolberg? And then it's like Tuneki, because Rodgers has already said like that's kind of the way it will go. And that's where the majority of you voted. Oh, mate, I'd love to have the balls to do that. Sincerely would, mate. It would be bottle. That's the only thing that would stop me doing that is absolute bottle. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've got the bottle for that. Exactly. And that's the thing with this guy, is he has a talisman. He has a striker. 185 likes, guys. Absolutely love to see it. And the poll, we've broke through 100. So 60% of you think we're going to finish between 10 to 15 points. We're talking about expectations. I'm holding it out there that par for the course is 10 games. We play the 8, we get playoffs. That is minimum. If we get 12, that is like we've had a good little Europa League adventure for whatever it was worth, at the time. And yeah, we can restock from there. And anything above 12, of course, I would call a resounding success. I don't think there's really much denying that. But that's how I feel about it. Buzzing if we get Dolberg, same. It's proper, like, wow. This is what we want. We want top of the food chain level guys from around the leagues that we should be shopping in at the price point that we know we should be shopping at, There is no real reason. Final in Seville. I'm pretty sure the final is somewhere like Turkey. I want to say, is it maybe in Besiktas Stadium? Well, really, if they're holding out for 15, it's a bit punchy. I think if it's a new record for us, I don't mind that. I don't mind it being a new transfer record. I think it's probably what I would settle on as an answer. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Yeah, see, I got some private stuff earlier that said it's not happening either. So I'm really conflicted on it. I'm so up for it happening. Like, I'm so up for it. Yeah, it's Besiktas. I thought that. So Turkey. I don't think Turkey, you know. You just always fear for fan safety. There's no other way of saying it. There's no getting around it. It's the elephant in the room when it's that kind of situation, even away against those teams or whatever. So, yeah, all will be decided shortly enough. So, Adam Ida looks to be on his way to Swansea. We've got incomings and outgoings. We've discussed Europa League as well. Final in Queen's Park Garden. I tell you what, see what I'm going to do now is how many matches, right? Maybe that's a nice way of thinking about it with the chat. A lot of you think we're going to get between 10 and 15 points. And I think most of us would probably agree that it would have to be a really bad case scenario. We're not creeping into the top 24 here. It's very tight. It's hard to get away from that. But if we do get to the 13, 14 point mark, it's probably going to be safe enough. And most of you think that's the range we're going to be living in. I think we'll get to like the 17, 15, 17 range. I think that's going to be more than enough to be in that that middle playoff section. So I'm going to say 8, right? In case some of you think we don't get there. 10 is what I think par is. 12, and then let's just go to 14, and I'll add a plus in, right? So you can say whatever. And if you do 14 plus, comment what round you think we're going to get to. How many matches? Back for Monta. I've seen those links as well. I don't get the Muntau stuff with his transfer value for the guys we've walked away from in this price category before. I just don't get it. Dolberg for 8 million, no bother. A guy from Cluj, nah, I'm not really feeling that. 4 million, aye, cool. 5 million, if he's good, okay. But when you get to the 8 million mark, it's like, there's other guys out there on that price point that are better. It's because the chat's so much running away, Brad lad. It's just a really good way for me to get a temperature of what you guys are saying. If we do get to the knockouts, it'll be Villa. Nah, Villa are going to finish top 8. They're going to get a bye in the playoff round, so they'll go straight to the last 16. Villa are my pick to win the thing, to be quite honest with you. Unai Emery, need I say any more, you know? So Villa are my favourites to win it. Really, if we do go further, like, there's no team here to really be scared of in reality. Some of them are from the bigger leagues and stuff like that, but the people that are saying early on, let's start dreaming, I can drink that tea, I can live that life, but we need to see some proof in the pudding first before I'm really drinking it, you know, and sharing it out with you guys. AJ out for 12 weeks. Yeah, I can get behind that. Yeah, so Balikwisha, you know, you say the 10, right? But let me go and it's been a weird kind of shape where it's been like 3 centre mids. I would say he's been playing more in the Negren role. It's probably the best way to observe it. Let me go and find him. Goal against Leuven. Let's just grab that game. Yeah, so that game probably isn't a good example. They played 3-5-2, and he played like right mid, apparently. This is taken from Opta. Oh, sugar. Back and back. So that was a goal against Leuven. Let's look at Charleroi. 1-1 draw. And yeah, centre mid. That's probably more accurate than the last picture we've seen. Against Genk, 1-1 draw. Centre mid, a 3 midfield, back 5. So I'd say he's been actually playing more kind of Negrenish, but good players like this, he just wants to be on the ball and making things happen. So I don't think it's that he's not comfortable playing out wide. I think he'll be finding himself in wide areas like Negren does for us when he plays centrally. Number 10 here against Bruges in a 1-1 draw. And that was last season. Opened the season against USG. Played number 10 in this one. And yeah, I think that's all the games we've looked at. He played out wide last season. Yeah, he has played a lot of front 3 as well. That's his main position, I think, for the most part. If we look back to last season when he had some form against Anderlecht, Kasper Dolberg with an assist for Anders Dreyer. Good football players. That's what I mean. It's not even just goals. It's assists as well. It's like play with other people, you know, make goals happen for the team. BALIKWISHA out wide. Yeah, totally spot on. So I can get behind it. I think he does. I think Rodgers is just trying to put pressure on the club in this way. Like, get the Dolberg deal done. Don't mess about. Make that deal happen. And then sell IDAH. Stop goofing about. Oh, no. Don't say that, AR. Don't say that. Don't be bringing those vibes to the chat. Come on, man. Come on. Pressure has been something else. So there's been the transfers. There's been the Europa League. Pressure has been something else. I'm kind of lost now for words. I'm not too sure which. BALIKWISHA is versatile. Thinkler 2.0, that's a good shout. Yeah, so I think that's going to mean we force Dolberg and Tuneki to come in before we let Yang and IDAH go. I think that'll be a straight hostage negotiation kind of thing going on there. And Brendan still wants another striker. The link I've seen before, and again, I don't realize, I can't even remember where I've seen it, but it's just the only name that I've got other than Tuneki and Dolberg is William Bovine. Now, we've not looked at him super closely, so we'll maybe do that. Have we look at Willie Bovine? The Strumt Graz midfielder forward. Who has had a pretty decent start to the year, has had some big scores. Now, one of the things that's really frustrating about this is Dominic Fitz has left and he's went to America for £2 million. And if we are interested in William Bovine, who is a not too dissimilar player to a Dominic Fitz, very effective player up front, links up well. Oh, these back buttons don't always work perfectly. And again, a decent Strumt Graz team, also an internationalist as well for Denmark, scoring here against the Ukraine. With Kvitsgarden, funnily enough, playing the centre mid in this position. So a versatile kind of player, as you can see here, plays up front and centre mid. So again, just always good option for us. A goal against Salzburg. Where did they play here? They played up front. So that could be a good player if we go for him. 22 years of age, a young international, very versatile. This is a standout game for him here, where he's really rinsed it against Austria Klagenfurt in a 7-0 victory. With Beerif, who a lot of you guys will be familiar with, former Motherwell loanee, ended up at Monaco, and I think might still be there but injured. And Bovine on the left in a 4-2-3-1. Kaitashvili, by the way, if we are looking at these teams, is maybe not. How old is Kaitashvili again? 29. Yeah, it's probably not really going to be on the radar for us, is he? But decent player, all the same. What's the poll, Quinny? The poll is, how many Europa League matches do you think we're going to get this year? 8, which is the ones we've got guaranteed on the fixture list already. 10, which means we don't finish in the bottom 12 or whatever. Yeah, we don't finish bottom 12. It's 10 games. If we win that game, regardless of if we finish in the top 8 or the top 24, we'll then get 12 games and then 14 and da-da-da. So for me, 10 is par. If we play 8 games, it's a failure. If we don't get top 24, it is a failure. Like, it's bad. It's negative. If we get to play 10 games, it's par. It's neutral. It's whatever. It's nothing. If we get 12 games, positive, decent. We're starting to, okay, that was a good campaign. We played lots of games. We got enough points. We progressed. We went further than we did last year in terms of the calendar. We maybe got some new experience under our belt. And then anything past 12, I think, is a home run. Wild success. Very good progression from where we've been over recent years. Because the Europa League, as much as Brendan even cites the UEFA Cup run, that is the abnormality, you know, in our Europa League, UEFA Cup life. We've got past Christmas enough times in Europa League. We've done that often enough. But whether it's been Zenit or Inter Milan or was Valencia one year? I think it was Valencia, wasn't it? That was Jeremy Toljan year, if I remember rightly. It's always blew up in our face, hasn't it? Stories released, say Anderlecht's not selling Dolberg, but we're selling Lucas Vazquez. Interesting. Let me go and jump on the Twitter sphere. Dolberg, Celtic. Let's see what's breaking. 1 hour ago. 4 minutes ago. do latest. Herald Sport. Yet to meet. Yes, isn't really news, is it? Negotiations are ongoing. Still haven't met the fee. I think these are all the same thing that's been said. And like, yeah, it's just all negotiations, not done yet. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a deal that'll be hard to do, personally. Right, I'm going to end the poll. Oh, we've only got 78 votes, guys. Can we get to at least 100 votes on the poll? How many games in the Europa League do you think we will play? What is acceptable? Oh, just how many do you think we'll play? That's the worst for a prediction, a projection. What do you think we'll do? BALIKWISHA wasn't hard to do, but it took us 12 weeks. Agreed. Agreed, Snick. DOLBERG will happen. I think so too. Dolberg's got a good feel about it. We'd love Yari Verscharen. Stephen Kennedy, like, you're so right, but so wrong at the same time. Yari Verscharen is exactly the guy we need to avoid. Sadly, he is always going to get injured. Like, I've been following Yari Verscharen, Yari V, as I like to call him, for like 6 seasons, 5 seasons. He's a wonder kid. Everyone knows him from computer games and stuff like that. I get it. But this guy always gets an injury. He always plays great, always gives you that promise of he's going to come back to life. And then he gets injured and he's out for a couple of months or a couple of weeks. It just always happens. He just will never be totally fine. You can't hang your hat on him. Now, if you're happy to take him in, is like, you can't hang your hat on him and he's like second string all day. All day. But you can't bank on this guy. You cannot pay good money for him. I think he knows that too. It's similar to us with Vickers, I think, you know. Unbelievable player, like, as well. Very, very good, but he just never gets away from it. He just never does. He's never finished a full season. His minutes is atrocious. And he's so good. He always comes back and does great. It's not like he loses it. You know, it's a real shame. And you never know. Sometimes these players take to when they're 28 to be injury-free and whatever. So you never write them off and you always keep an eye on them, I guess. But can he spend money on them? You know, like, under 5 million, and he doesn't need to be a starter for us every week. Sign me up. Yeah. A bit of the Rogic's, yeah. A bit more Belgian, a bit more European in terms of the guile about him. But yeah. Dolberg has to be delivered. Yeah, I guess so. I'm with you there. The likes are flying away, guys. 250 is normal. On some of these shows, it's getting, and that is incredible. We're almost there on the live segment alone. We're almost at 100 votes. 30% of you think we're just going to get 10 games. We're going to play the 8, and we're going to get playoff and get eliminated. Majority of you guys on the live show today think we're going to hit par. 26% of you are with, I think we'll get 12. I think we, you know, I don't know. What do I think we'll actually get? I think we will get 12. I think we'll have a good run at it if this business gets done. Very business dependent. 26% of you are with me. 24% of you think better than that. You've 24%, 23% now thinks it's going to be a raging success, and 19% think it's going to be a failure. I think we're only going to get the 8 games. Oh, sorry if I gave you that impression. I knew you didn't say that. Sorry if I said something that came across that way. Thanks very much, Stephen. I appreciate that. So yeah, we're at 102 votes. Really kind words. The support has been incredible. The likes is phenomenal. The live chat action is unreal. No faith in any good business, Liam Devine. You've got every right to feel that way, buddy. And I can't help it. I'm a sucker for optimism, man. Hook me up to that stuff. 31% of you think we get 10 matches. Nice amount of poll votes there as well. I'm a lot more buoyed as well coming into this game now. I think BALIKWISHA is going to start them getting absolute. Oh, do you know, this is another thing I wanted to bring up, right? So every Wednesday on the channel, we do a watch list series where we look at players around European and world football Celtic could and should sign. And in the lead up to the summer, I'm making a shopping list, like, of targets and whatever. And one of them, I was very like, oh, I'd love Celtic to get this guy. Obviously, there's been a lot of credit come to this channel's way for discussing Negren, because we discussed Negren on 2 or 3 different occasions. I always wrote him off down to transfer fee. I thought he'd have been way more expensive than what he was. similar to Dolberg and BALIKWISHA. Thought he'd have been around there, and Celtic probably wouldn't have just jumped on it. So anyway, in the same way, a guy that we were very like, this would be a big player for Celtic to sign, should sign, is available, all the rest of it. Went to Bruges very early in the window for €6 million. Absolutely put Rangers to the sword midweek. And Brendan Rodgers, like, either referenced this guy or he referenced Goncalo Borges. McBride Ace was chatting about this on the show last night. So if you missed that, feel free to check it out. But Borges only played 45 minutes, didn't do anything. Whereas Tresoldi did. Where is he? Oh, he's actually up front in this game, you know. So Brendan referenced him, not by name, but by Bruges signed a 6 million guy, and I seen he did quite well the other night. We were after him. He would have been on the list. I think that's almost all but confirmed that Tresoldi was on the list. Imagine we had Tresoldi in for Kairat. That alone, with Negren, that'd have been cool. That would have been totally kosher. He made his move. Let's look at it. Can we get a date on this? Tresoldi. He moved really early in the window, and it was like €5 or €6 million. It was very much, and I tweeted about it at the time, not that Celtic pay attention to my tweets or whatever, you know, but it was very much like, we should have done this. There's no ifs or buts about it. €6 million it was done for, and it just says here 1st of July. I think that's maybe a standard thing. Date joined 1st of July, but yeah, I think it was a little bit, it might have been like 20th of June or something like that. Maybe I'm being pedantic at that point, but Brendan just about came short of mentioning him by name, you know. We were after this guy. We wanted this guy. I don't think there's anything about it. And when push came to shove, Bruges paid the money. And Brendan even referenced Bruges in the press conference, which I thought was and I think when you hear Brendan talk in the press conference that came out today, if you've not listened to it, I highly recommend it. I think the way Brendan operates, he repeats himself a lot. If you listen to like post-match interviews and all that kind of stuff, he does interviews with like the press, with the radio, with Sky, with the club, with Sky Sports on the pitch. He repeats the same stuff over and over again. And that's not a criticism, right? But I think a lot of the stuff you heard in that press conference today is him repeating stuff that's been had in conversations, either the sentiment of them or things he's maybe said to someone else when he's highlighting Bruges and he says stuff. It feels like stuff that's been said previously behind closed doors he's revealing. And I think they're quite telling in that regard. So Tresoldi, opportunity missed, I think almost confirmed in that way. And yeah, that's maybe not a bad strategy either. Like, you know, that's fair. It's so hard to tell, isn't it, man? You know, Dolberg keen. Then if he's not, then fine. But Anderlecht have just been eliminated from Conference League. And yeah, we're not in Champions League, but we'll be fighting for it next year, you know. Forbes was also 6 million, but he came off at half-time in the match, didn't do particularly well, which is why I don't think he was talking about Carlos Forbes. Came off at half-time, having done nothing in the game, whereas Tresoldi played 68 minutes, got a goal and an assist. So, I mean, I am inferring, but I don't think it's much of a stretch. Look how bad they played. And this Bruges team is worse than the Bruges team we played, you know. Not totally, you know, but Joaquin Sees played against us and did not do that. De Kuyper played against us and played well. De Kuyper's now in the Premier League. Jashari played against us. He's now at AC Milan. And yeah, they didn't have Forbes back then. They had Skov Olsen. Skov Olsen played against us, I'm sure. He's now in the Bundesliga. And who was up front again? Don't think it was Jutla. Jutla might have started, actually. He's at Celta Vigo. So the Bruges team we played was way better. Way, way better. Don't get me wrong. I like this team a lot. Don't rate Forbes. I was really excited for us to go after him when he was leaving Man City. I would have paid a decent sum for him. He ended up going for big money. Wolves, it didn't work out. Ajax, it didn't work out. And Bruges have taken a punt on him. And a guy like that at that stage is probably worth a punt at 6 million. I don't think Celtic would take a punt on a guy like that at 6 million, you know. Celtic are very punt averse at 6 million, you know. So I would be surprised if it was Forbes on a few levels, I guess. Ordonez as well. Jutla did start, didn't he? But was it that Vermont guy maybe was causing some problems up front? Yeah. So let's see. Carlos Forbes, a poor man's Mikey Johnson, perhaps. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've been running live and loud. I can't remember if there was anything else to add into the equation. We've did some nice polls. It's been some week, hasn't it? We did the preview show for the game at the weekend last night. I'm sticking to how I think and I feel coming into the game. I think we have maybe now got a wee bit of wind in our sails with the transfer business starting to happen and going away to Mordor. Like, you know, we've got the toxic atmosphere to kind of fire the players on in that regard. BALIKWISHA, by all accounts, is a guy that will be coming in, putting his chest out, lifting his chin up, and putting that number 10 shirt on his back and going for it. So I'm expecting a good game at the weekend. Yeah, I'll stick with the pre-match prediction we did last night. If you're watching this after we've been live, feel free to put your score predictions in the comment section as well, of course. Thoughts and feelings in the comment section as well for everyone that's watched this after we've been live as well. Honestly, breathtaking turnout from you guys. Thanks very much for all the support on the channel. It really does mean a lot. If you do want to support the channel anymore, Substack is the place to do it. You get all the content without any ads, and you get access to all the articles, all the insider scoops, and all that good stuff that comes there. Celts are here. You'll find it, as well as in the description of most of the videos. Maybe not today's video, but certainly yesterday's and all the other ones that are on channel. And yeah, I kind of get that as well. And I have tried to put that out there in the show as well, that this is kind of happening because the Sharks came out, you know. So don't stand down your Sharks maybe just yet. We still need either, for me, and you can make up your own mind. I don't speak for all Celtic fans. I don't speak for any Celtic fans other than myself. But if Brendan signs a new deal, I'll be happy with Europa League. Then let's just move on, right? Or if somebody gets bagged and we get an explanation. That's the two. That's when the Sharks come down for me. But it is hard not to be happy and excited with BALIKWISHA. Maybe Dolberg, maybe not Dolberg, maybe Bovine. Some other guys coming in that are up for the cause, as it were. Have a great weekend. I hope we all have a great time on Sunday, obviously, as well. Stay out of trouble if you're going to the game. Travel safe and all that good stuff, of course. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble. Hail, hail, Mon the Hoops.